Hi guys, it's Jaco here. Today, unfortunately, I'm going to talk and try to analyze and think about what happened yesterday against Chelsea. I'm saying unfortunately because I thought that there was quite a limit on how bad we could have get, but clearly there is no limit in this Tottenham team, and we can get as bad as you can think of. Yesterday was the worst performance of the season. I'm positively saying it because of various things. So we had a very tough game against Newcastle. I fully understand that. Now we have the chance to really show to everyone what we are all about, try to jump to the second place, winning a very important game against Chelsea. So you would expect the team to be up for it. You know, you would expect the team to be very intense, very passionate about it. Not even close. It was embarrassing. It was shameless. It was coward. Whatever you want to put in that performance, it is like that. It was that negative. I'm going to go and talk about the individuals, and then we're going to talk about a little bit what's happening and what I expect for the future for us, because it's not looking good. I'm going to tell you right here, right now, it's not good looking good. So talking about the individuals, Vicario, wonderful as always, player of the season so far for Tottenham. That tells you a lot about the quality of the football that we're playing and the type of chances that we're creating. So Vicario, I don't know what to say other than it was another top performance. If it wasn't for him, it would be 4-5 nil easily for Chelsea. So again, shout out to him. Even if with this feat is yet unreliable, he's a world-class keeper between the goals. So last of our problems for sure is Guglielmo Vicario. Then two centre backs, incredibly bad, incredibly bad. Danso, as I said always, I don't rate Danso highly. I like the character. I like how passionate he is. I think that he can be quite functional for us, but with the ball, he's not good enough. Chelsea was pressing us so well, and neither of Danso and Van de Ven were able to get out of the pressure in any shape or form. And this is not the first time that we saw this with Danso. Even against Newcastle, he was very sloppy with the ball and we conceded. Yesterday, maybe he didn't had huge mistakes on the ball, but the general play is when he's on the ball, he doesn't give any confidence. He doesn't find a lot of passes. And when he finds passes, he's a little bit clumsy, losing too many times the pace of the game is slowing down too much things. So maybe today, maybe yesterday, I'm being even too harsh on Danso, but I'm in general not a huge fan of his technical abilities. Van de Ven, beside him, he was even worse, absolutely worse. Yesterday was panicking all game. He wasn't able to be calm on the ball once. The Chelsea pressure was too much for him, and he was very clumsy in a lot of situations, especially when we conceded the goal. That was an absolutely embarrassing goal to concede, and even there, it was not agile enough, and it's such a shame because I feel like Van de Ven have the possibility to be a top centre back even under pressure. But yesterday, he really crumbled under it, and that's where you need players like Cuti Romero beside him, because in this kind of game with high pressure, Cuti is always the one that eases the pressure for everyone. And Van de Ven is not yet able to do it, but he built pressure on him and he crumbled, and he wasn't good enough yesterday, absolutely, even himself. On the right, Pedro Porro, I don't know what's happening with Pedro in the last games. I feel like I'm seeing one of the worst versions of him, losing the ball too many times, giving away the ball without even the intention to play. And one thing that I always loved about Pedro Porro is that he was always trying to create something, trying to build, trying to get us out of the defensive situation. But yesterday I was seeing Pedro Porro even himself panicking without any option around him for a pass, and 90% of the time losing the ball with a long pass that was going to absolutely no one. So even Pedro Porro needs to pattern up. I still believe that you need to put Pedro Porro a little bit in a more offensive situation to really get the best out of him. And I feel like in the last games, we really lacked quality in the final third, and we also lacked the presence of Pedro Porro in the final third in terms of crosses and in terms of everything else. But to be fair, he wasn't even that good when it comes to crosses, to set pieces. Yesterday was all round a bad game for Pedro Porro. once again, because in the last week I'm not seeing the Pedro Porro that I'm used to watch. On the other side, Jet Spence, not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. He started trying to go forward, making some runs, but he have no creativity, no eye for the pass. He's just driving forward for the sake of it sometimes. And I thought that he started quite well yesterday, but with the game going on. In the goal that we considered, I thought that it was a little bit embarrassing the way that he was in a central position and he tried to do a skill that not even under 10 players are trying to do with no rhythm, without any intention against Caicedo. That from that moment started to win basically every duel and then creating the goal for Chelsea by himself. But that was the start of the goal that we considered. Just Spence being careless on the ball. It's not the first time, it would not be the last. And also, I don't understand it. This is a thing that I want to talk about. Van de Ven and Spence, I don't know what they are on after the game, what they were doing after the game, trying to not clap the fans and ignoring the manager. That is embarrassing, absolutely, because you have no right to talk like that about a manager, and you have no right to treat like that a manager and the fans after the performance that you put on the pitch. Don't even try to do that bullshit. I'm sorry to say it. And Jet Spence was also very disrespectful towards Thomas Frank, like Van de Ven. So I'm expecting both to apologize, because after a performance like that, the only thing that you don't need to show is your childish side. You need to be professional and you need to move on and try to move on, even if it's very tough to move on from a performance like this. But Just Spence on the pitch, off the pitch, awful. The midfield, Bentancur, Palinha, Sarr. Verbal was very unlucky, and I'm not even going to talk about Verbal too much because he was very lucky. The concussion was very clear. He was not lucid, so it was the right decision to get him out of the pitch and putting Xavi instead. The midfield three was at the lowest in terms of technical ability. Palinha, worst game with us by far. He was outshined, outplayed by Caicedo defensively, and with the ball, he was panicking constantly. So we saw the worst version of even Palinha in this game. Bentancur was okay, I guess, in certain situations, but didn't affect the game too much. But he's the most technical player that we had on the pitch in midfield for sure in the last game. That tells you a lot about the quality that we have. Pape Matar, I'm sorry, but everyone is making a scene about why Pape is not starting, why Pape is not starting. Then when he starts, this is the level that he puts. This is embarrassing. He was absolutely nowhere near any duel. He was nowhere near technically. He was losing the ball too much. He was wasting the ball too much, not recovering the ball. He was basically a passenger. So I'm not fully understanding what is Pape offering to us when he plays like this, because yesterday he was absolutely non-existent, Pape Matar, even with the ball or without the ball. So before making a scene about why Frank started this kind of player, look at what we have in the team. We have absolutely nothing to improve on us. So it's going to be a very tough period for us until the January transfer window, that maybe we can get a midfielder, because this is the level of the midfield that we have. Technically, we are nowhere near the level that we should be to play good football. So on the wide areas, Kudus looked knackered, looked very exhausted. He wasn't able to progress the ball by himself like usually. Cucurella was man marking him all game, so he was limiting him in terms of options, and that hurt us a lot, because the way that we progress usually is by Kudus. And when Kudus is not here, when the midfield is not good enough, when in defense you don't have Romero, when on the left you don't have Destino Doji, in the end you are not going to progress. And I feel like in the end, Kudus had a bad game. He tried in one or two situations to shoot, but I feel like in the end, Cucurella had the best of him, unfortunately, and that hurt us a lot, because he's one of the few players that is top six quality. What maybe the only forward that is top six quality is Mohamed Kudus. Then Randall Colomwani, I don't even know what to tell about him, because he didn't touch the ball at all. We were not able to progress at all. We gave him maybe two or three times the ball, and I thought that he did quite well when he had it, but it's not good enough two times to give the ball to the striker in 90 minutes. It's absolutely embarrassing. We were not able to string two passes away. So I'm not going to be harsh at all on Randall Colomoni. I feel like playing him like this, we're not doing him a favor, giving him two times the ball under a lot of pressure from the centre back. So there is no way that I can say that Randall Colomoni was a negative performance. I feel like we need to give him time. He's one of the few good players that we have on the team. On the other side, we need to talk about Xavi Simmons because is starting to be a problem, a huge problem. 60 million player, creative player. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it the player that we brought? Where is the player that in the Bundesliga was steering up defenses? He looked completely hopeless. He looked really that he lacked pace, power, he lacked confidence. His first touches are bad. His decision making is bad. He's not unlocking any situation. He's not creating absolutely anything. So yes, I understand also, and we're gonna go also on Thomas Frank, the tactics of Thomas Frank. You want to say whatever you want, but he received the ball in central position a few times and he messed up also that situation. So now I'm not understanding what type of tactical setup you need to play to get the best out of Xavi Simons, because so far I feel like there is no tactical setup that will get the best out of Xavi Simons in this moment. He looks completely hopeless. Like Chelsea were toying with him. Even when he had a successful dribble, 2 meters after he was dispossessed because they were so much faster than him. They were going so much intense than him. So he tries, because I see that he tries also defensively to come back. His lack of technical abilities is insane to say for Xavi Simons, but so far is a lack of technical qualities. First touch, passes, decision making. He looks lost. He looks completely lost. I don't understand. I don't understand. I understand that he's tough, but he's still what? 3 months, 2 months. The season is going. At least show something. I'm not saying a perfect performance. Show something. You can't show nothing again in a game against Chelsea that is a huge game for everyone. He showed nothing. He was substituted out after getting into the pitch instead of Verbal because he was not giving to us absolutely anything. Absolutely anything. And not one vertical pass, not one link up with the striker, not one shot from outside of the box, not one creative pass, not one dribble inside of the nothing, nothing. So I don't know what to say anymore about him. The substitution, I don't even know if I need to talk about it because we didn't do absolutely anything. And so I thought that we need to talk about Thomas Frank. I see a lot of criticism, and I feel like a little bit is understandable. We created absolutely nothing at home against the Chelsea, so the manager is going to hold some blame. I feel like he might have prepare the game a little bit too defensive, maybe prepare the game to try to hit them in transition more than anything. And when we conceded the first goal, everything crumbled, and we didn't have a plan to try to attack them, creating from the back. So maybe it was a little bit too much of a defensive approach. Fully understand that. But I'm not putting Frank in the position to say sack him, because the individual performances that were making the plan this bad were unacceptable. Like our individuals were not acceptable in terms of level. And I'm tired to excuse every time the individuals because it's always the manager fault. It's always the manager fault. It's always the manager fault. I seriously don't believe that. I seriously don't want to keep building a narrative like that. Like for me, the manager have a little bit of responsibility, but the players get the majority of the responsibilities. You come into the pitch, you know how important is this game, and if you put this kind of intensity into the game, it's your fault, no one else. Because I can see if everyone is playing well and we can't create because everyone is playing well and this is the system fault. But now is not that the case. Now is everyone is playing under the level, and then we want to say that is all about the system. But what if we improve the level? What will happen? Maybe we suddenly can create something even in this system. So before going to Frank, I want the player to play well, because if not, want the player to give everything. Because yesterday I was not seeing it. So Frank gets a little bit of responsibilities, understandable, but not even close from being the biggest problem. Because if not, we are keep ending in the same circle. It's all the fault of the manager. If we change system, everything will improve. Then we change system, few good games, then usual things come up. It's again the fault of the manager. Let's change system again. In the end, the system can keep changing, but the individuals are the same. And without Romero, without certain top players that we have, we are a spineless team. We are a team that deserve to be mid-table. The 17th finish of last season was bad, but it was nothing that is impossible again. Because if Romero, Doge, or some other players are long-term injured, we can easily finish 14th. Like this is a team that have no quality, have no UCL quality, no technical ability, no creativity. So what can you do about Frank? Of course, he's going to hold some blame, but I don't see us playing offensive football against Chelsea, being successful with the players that we have, with Paligna, Sarr, these kind of low technical players. I'm sorry, I don't see it. So this is a little bit the video. This is a little bit my thoughts on it. I don't know how we are going to recover from this. It's going to be very tough. It's going to be very tough because this is a huge hit in morale. This is a huge hit in confidence. The fan base is crumbling. The manager is under pressure. The players seem like they don't follow anymore a little bit the instruction. They don't believe in it. So it looks as usual, the usual moment of Tottenham where everything falls off and we start to have a very bad season. I hope not. There is still time. We are early in the season. There is still time to turn things around, but I'm not too confident. After watching the game against Chelsea, I'm not too confident about the season. But let's see what happened. And thank you so much for being here and see you the next time. Have a good day.